Croatia. Croatia is the newest member of the EU. There's going to be 11.7 billion euros that are going to be invested in the next couple of years to build their infrastructures so they're modeled after the rest of Europe. Now, in 2000, when we entered Europe, does anyone remember? I don't know, you guys were too young, but a lot of jobs were created through the entrance of Europe. Now, most Croatians right now are very, bless you, are very, very nervous because they already have a high unemployment rate, but billions will be invested in their economy. So you can expect that there will be a new creation of jobs in the marketplace. Malta, as I said previously, Malta is one of our biggest competitors. It's a model that it's an island nation very similar to ours, a little bit smaller. Their beaches aren't as nice. They have they're very competitive towards us, and they're going right now through an incline of their GDP that we went through, that we experienced in 2003. And if you see the GDP of Cyprus in 2000 to 2001, it would go like that, and then 2002 it would go like that, and then from 3 it just went straight up until it reached 2010, and then the incline was like this, and then now we're on the verge. Have you guys ever seen has anyone been on a roller coaster? Okay, all right. So we're in Malta right now. Now in my role, this is the part where I advertise how cool my job is. Part of my job is to be the HR leader for my cluster, part of my cluster. And our cluster is 22 countries. And part of those 22 countries is Malta, it's Greece, it's Turkey, it's Romania, Bulgaria. It's countries that have some similarities between them. And it's CSC, which is the cluster, is Central Southern Europe, which is the region that has been hit the most due to the recession. Now, there are, in those 22 countries, there are countries that are going through really bad times, us, Greece, but in Malta, they are in desperate need of people. Currently, how many people here are going to go study to become accountants or auditors? No one? I'm impressed. Wow. Okay, great. All right, if you were, okay, because there's a lot in Cyprus, but this is shocking news to me. Look, right now the future in Cyprus isn't certain, but one thing that we do have is a lot of educated people. We have almost the highest percentage, like number 2, number 3, in probably the whole world of educated people. We have more graduates, ACCA graduates or ACA graduates, than any other place outside of the UK in the world. Last year there were 600 ACA graduates in Cyprus and only 8 in China. These people are in need in different parts of the world, whether it's in Gibraltar or Malta or Luxembourg, which Luxembourg is going through a similar growth as well. Now, as we speak, Lithuania is the first former country to hold the EU presidency, and today is a very historic day. The President of the United States is in Lithuania talking to the President of the EU to negotiate something called the Transatlantic Trade Plan. Now, through this plan, they expect over 20 million jobs to arise in the next 7 years, by 2020. Now, if this pact actually is enforced, there will be a harmonization of regulatory matters between the US and EU, which have been frozen for the past 4 or 5 years or so because of the crisis. So there are a lot of initiatives that are going on right now as we speak that are trying, people are trying. Now, I know that for young people, the government hasn't, has let most of you down. For, growing up, you haven't really gotten a good impression of the governments around you. But a lot of people are doing a lot of initiatives worldwide. And a lot of young people are doing a lot of things that are pushing governments to do things for them. And this is part of it. This is planned to make a change. Austria. Youth unemployment in Austria is 9.2. Similar with Germany, they have apprenticeships as well in place. So upon graduation, I suggest look out for these kind of apprenticeships. The UK. Now, the Prince's Trust has already invested almost 1.65 million pounds in startups. Now, who here has planned to start up their own company? Anyone? Really? All right, okay. This is good news when I see more business people than accountants. Okay, so obviously for your generation, the startup isn't something that is completely obscure or something unknown to you. For many of you, if the future means that you're going to make 700 euros, you might as well work for yourselves and make that and have the flexibility of being your own boss. And good for you. Good for you. For many of you, and in fact for all of you, the option of being limited by a job in a bank or the government isn't going to be available. So that's going to create a lot of innovation. Now, this is the part of the section of my presentation where it's about the youth startup, that I call the youth startup machine. Now, I know it's about jobs, but you know what? We shouldn't be limited just by jobs. Now, startup culture isn't just for Silicon Valley and New York City. It's tough times. It's a breeding ground for innovation, and the EU is expected to dump over 100 million euros in the next coming years to assist young people such as yourselves to start up their own companies. This is what we need to do. It's not just, these are the things that are happening right now that you need to be aware of.
First off, congratulations to all of the delegates who finished the resolutions today, so well done. We will have our discussion, Europe. Our theme is Shaping Tomorrow in a Time of Indifference. This is in the context of the 2013 European Year of Citizens, and it's focusing around our session theme, which is Define Difference, Shape Tomorrow. We have our three experts here. Each of them will discuss and give a speech on an area of expertise around our theme, and after every speech and presentation, you will have around 5-10 minutes for questions. Once we finish all three topics, at the end, we'll have more time to take more questions from you. The gentlemen here were very kind to attend Discussing Europe in their busy schedules, so I suggest you manipulate the time they're giving you and bring some fruitful discussions and questions. I'll introduce our guests. To my right is Mr. Nikos Markou. Mr. Nikos Markou is the head of Human Resources, Assistant Director of Ernst & Young, Cyprus. In the past, he led the Human Resources function at one of Cyprus's leading law firms. He's currently undertaking an LLM in employment law, and thus his expertise in employment. And he's now an Assistant Director and the Head of Human Resources at Ernst & Young. Thank you for coming. Our second speaker is Ambassador Andreas Mavroyiannis. Mr. Mavroyiannis has served as Deputy Minister to the President of the Republic of Cyprus for European Affairs, and he was responsible for the preparation and the running of the Cyprus presidency of the Council of the EU. Mr. Mavroyiannis has assumed his duties as Permanent Secretary in the 1st of March 2013. His topic will be focusing around the tools that are available to you and to every other European citizen in terms of shaping your future and in terms of having an influence in the development of European policies. Thank you for coming. And finally, we will finish with Mr. Yannis Yannakis. Mr. Yannis Yannakis will talk about the benefits of volunteering, and he will explore the role of youth organizations and NGOs in cultivating civic engagement. Mr. Jans is Commissioner for Volunteering in Non-Governmental Organizations, and he worked in the past on the Youth Board of Cyprus as coordinator for the implementation of the Youth for European Youth Programme, as well as for the Youth and Youth in Action platforms.
Human Resources at Ernst & Young, EY as it's known now. Through my career, I've had the opportunity to work in New York City. I've worked in the northwest of UK, and now I'm working in Cyprus, all in HR jobs. Like you, I will have the opportunity to move around in my career. And this is going to be the theme of my whole presentation. Okay. I'm sorry, we have a technical issue. I don't have one of those controls, so I'm going to be doing this a lot. Okay. Now, the topic of my presentation is the impact of the crisis on the European job market and how can young citizens adapt to these changing realities. Okay. Now, I'm going to briefly discuss, only just briefly, just for like 1 full minute, about all the negative things, and then we're going to move on because, like you, I'm sick of listening to all the negative stuff. Who here is sick of listening to all the negative stuff? Raise your hands, come on. I see someone over there. All right, okay, you too. All right, okay. As we speak, I'm going to read with me. As we speak, nearly 6 million young Europeans are out of work and trying to find jobs. 6 million. That's a lot, right? 22% of these young Europeans, which are between the ages of 15 and 24, are currently unemployed. In some countries, it's as low as 10%, like in Austria and Germany, lesser than that even. And in Spain and Greece, it's almost 50%, which is quite high. 26,654,000 million men and women in the EU 28, of whom 19,000 million were in the Euro area, were unemployed in July 2013. Now,